Raise your hand if you are a fan of Daredevil. Daredevil from the comics, Daredevil from the Netflix series, Daredevil in any fashion. Now, raise your hand if you would like to see Daredevil enter the MCU. Welcome everybody, Jimmy or Chaos. Today we're going to talk about exactly that. The potential for not only Daredevil to come into the MCU, but for it to be Charlie Cox's Daredevil. That version of Matt Murdock, which I think it's safe to say everybody loves, or most people love. I think he did a fantastic job. All I ever see is positive praise and reviews of it, so it makes sense, right? Well, there's a lot to unpack here because it could actually be happening. Now, we're not talking about all the leaks and rumors of Matt Murdock being Tom Holland's lawyer in the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home, which I don't care what Charlie Cox says. I think is happening 100%. It makes sense. It makes total sense after the end and the post-credit scenes of Far From Home. It just makes a lot of sense. And it could be a way to soft kind of boot Daredevil into the MCU. Think Dane Whitman. Think Kit Harington is Dane Whitman in the Eternals. He's not going to be the Black Knight, but it sets you up. It lets you start to build that character arc and that storyline, and you get to know him, and then boom, he takes off as the Black Knight. It could be the same thing for Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home. Doesn't have to be a big role at all, but it makes sense for him to represent Peter as his lawyer and kind of just tickle the strings of what could happen in the future with Daredevil. Well, now we have even more to go off of, and this was reported on by The Direct, and most everybody says the Netflix series that went from 2015 to 18, 3 seasons, was a success. Not just because of Charlie Cox, but Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, Deborah Ann Wall, and of course the Punisher, John himself, which is a story for another day because he said if it's dark and gritty enough, he would come into the MCU. But it was a success. They went out on a high, which doesn't happen all the time. Well, Charlie Cox has been actually talking about stuff like this, and he actually got interviewed on Sirius XM, and he opened up about all of it. He opened up about the success they had with the Netflix series and how you have to be careful if you come back because you don't want it to go downhill, and you have to be very careful with how they work. But the more important thing was he talked about Daredevil in the MCU. He even talked about how it could be different storylines, or it could be an upgraded version of Daredevil. He said maybe they cast him and they do a reimagining or a reboot, or he was even open to the idea that they bring somebody brand new in and do like a complete reboot with the Daredevil character like Sony did with the Spider-Man character. He seems at peace with either way, but I just get this feeling, this vibe, because he's like Andrew Garfield. They're out there talking. They're taking interviews. They're talking about theories. I mean, he's not going to say he's in Spider-Man No Way Home at all, but he has said that he was afraid to ruin any surprises about the film, and he's addressed theories. He has, from the trailer. So, personally, I think he's in Spider-Man No Way Home 100%. Is he going to be Daredevil? I don't think so at all. I think he would be Matt Murdock, and that would be the segue into Daredevil in the future of the MCU. It establishes him in the actual MCU. Now, do I think they reboot it and bring somebody new in? I don't. With the success of the Netflix series and how Daredevil stuck with Charlie Cox, everybody looks at Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I think that would be kind of silly to work backwards and have to create that all again because it's positive. I mean, if it was a Daredevil Netflix series that didn't go over well, okay, I get it. You reboot it, but that's not the case. It's not like Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man where there was so much controversy, so they rebooted it completely. Daredevil Netflix series went out on a high, and it opens up things for Kingpin, which is rumored to make a cameo in Spider-Man No Way Home. It really opens up the Punisher. Man, I really want to see John Bernthal in the MCU, but that's a story for another day. So the point is, we could see Daredevil in the MCU in the near future. You guys let me know what you think.